I need to take a breather. I need to go outside and touch some grass before I come back. I need to maybe, I don't know, film a video right now to get my feelings out. Maybe talk to my friends. But just know that what you say out to individuals is going to come back right at you. Yeah, don't think lightly on what you think about yourself. I think that is one of the biggest part of it.
Very nice.
I was like to get a little bit more spiritual this kind of thing. It's like, the universe is so big. You may not find answers here, but you might find somewhere else. So, what I want to live like, just 2 years ago, has already changed. So, you don't really have to have a hard set goal at all for your age. You can just always take it as you go. It's like, okay, maybe last year I wanted to be good at dancing, but this year I'm like, you know what, forget about that. I want to be really good at fishing. So like, all this whole thing can change. It doesn't really matter. As long as you're constantly working towards a goal to better yourself.
Goh Jian Hong Francis, a budding social worker with Shine Children and Youth Services, and Daniel Tang, an aspiring social worker. So we'll hear their incredible stories, and there will be plenty of time for your questions at the end. But first, let's get to know them better. Please join me in giving them a warm welcome. Great. Shall we do a quick introduction?
Okay, so my name is Ruru and I make content, and I guess you can call me a cosplayer or influencer. Yeah, I make videos online.
Woo! That's fun. Woo!
Hi everyone, I'm Francis. I'm a budding social worker, so I started doing social work last year after graduating from studying. It's been about 5 months in the youth sector. Previously, I was in a family service center, also working with a few youths. So I'm new to the sector, but not new to youth, because I recently also were a youth. Actually, in national context, I'm still a youth. It's until 35 years old. So yeah, I hope to get to interact with everyone here today and get to know one another better.
Okay, hi everyone, I'm Daniel. Actually, currently I'm a student, so I'm taking my diploma, but I've been a youth worker for quite a while, about 6 years. So generally my life has been revolving around youths and sometimes children. Yeah.
Great. Thank you for those introductions. Let's jump right in. So the first question is, if you had to describe your mental well-being, not as a definition, but as a feeling or a state of being, what would it feel like?
Okay, I can share first. If I were to describe mental well-being as a sense of feeling, is it?
Yes.
Okay.
Not as a definition, but as a feeling or a state of being.
Okay. I think how I see mental well-being, maybe in a sense, it's in a sense of having control and agency. So in a state of well-being, I think it's when I have the control of how I want to interact with the system. So a lot of times we don't live in, I see just now we also did the poll about how do we feel or something, and I saw isolation is a big part of it. So sometimes also feeling that it's okay to isolate myself and to have some me time and spend time alone. I think that helps to promote my own well-being. So it's having that control, having that choice of what I want to do. And agency maybe is when, let's say, maybe more of I want to interact with my environmental systems, right? How I'm able to connect, how I'm able to negotiate the circumstances with them. I think these are some things that will help to promote my well-being because I have that control and the agency. Yeah.
Wow, so deep. Thank you so much for sharing. What about Daniel and Rurusama?
Okay, so I didn't think about it that deep, honestly. I think of it more like, okay, and then like different animals or different weathers, it actually really affects me. So like, when you asked that question, I actually thought of a cloud, right? A cloud on a good day is pretty, it's shiny, you know, sometimes you might see silver linings. But on a horrible day, then it will start raining. But actually, I do quite like the rain, so it's just a matter of perspective. So I always think that mental health is also largely due to how you look at things. So I am personally a fan of gaslighting myself. So I think I usually just reword how I would say things to myself rather than saying that. I mean, I shared it in the panel upstairs. It's like, instead of saying I am sad, I'm depressed, I say I think I need 5 minutes, because words have power. And that's how I generally approach how my mental wellness in general. Yeah.
Thank you so much. That's so powerful. And what about you, Daniel?
For me, I think a state of being for mental health or mental wellness is actually being able to be calm. Because I think a lot of things happen every day, and I think throughout life, definitely it's not always a straight path. It's always a turn here or a turn there or a stop here. And I think being able to go through it calmly, I think matters a lot. Because I think akin to like a swan, because like a swan, it looks so graceful, but actually under the water, the swan is paddling like hell. Yeah, so I think definitely it's like being able to stay calm and also to know that actually I can get through this, or I will get through this eventually, but it may not be as fast or as may not be as fast as others. So I think comparison is a thief of joy. So I don't think that we should compare how we or where we are going. I think as long as you know that, okay, that's my end goal, I'm going to get there eventually, and I believe in myself. I think that's quite powerful to know that.
Great, thank you so much. So, the balance between doing and being is a constant struggle. Can you share one non-negotiable daily or weekly practice that protects your mental space, especially when life gets overwhelmingly busy?
This is honestly, in my opinion, controversial. Discipline. You just have to stick to the plan, because sometimes, you know, what you plan doesn't, sometimes emotions get in the way, but if you just stick to the plan, it will work out. So for example, my non-negotiables is going to the gym, going to dance, hang out with my friends once a week, minimum. If there can be more, I would have done it, right? Or like always having dinner at a certain time. So I mean, a lot of people could say that this is like psychopath behavior, because like I need to have certain things in my day in order for it to work. It's like, there was once I actually did an experiment, and I realized that if I don't wake up before a certain time, I get very upset the whole day. So I'm like, oh, okay, so now that I've gotten that figured out, I should probably wake up before 9 a.m. and that helps. So it's about, I guess, customizing your avatar in a nutshell. You have to figure yourself out, because everybody is different. So for me, it might be waking up early, it might be going to dance, but for you, it might be playing sports, it might be not talking to anyone for 15 hours. Truly up to you.
Right, what about you guys?
Okay, I think reflecting on the question, so last year when I was still studying, right, I think I kind of have a bit more time. So when I have more pockets of time, because in uni, right, our timetable can vary. So mine I only have like one class a day, one class a week. So actually it's one class a day, and the whole week, the other 4 days I have nothing to do. So that was my last year in uni. And I think similar to what Ruru said, I didn't have a routine. So I think I find myself when I don't have a routine, So I wake up like maybe very late, or I skip meals. So I wake up, I probably miss lunch already. It's like 5 p.m. I felt like I have less energy despite sleeping so much. And I felt like when I was interacting with people, maybe I was a bit quite detached also. I don't really have the energy to want to connect. Maybe that was because, from my perspective, I might be sleeping too much, I might be being too isolated. Yeah, but now, so upon realizing that, then I joined more stuff. So I like to kayak, so I like to make sure that I connect with the nature, be kayaking alone or with my friends. I will also go to run, I go to gym. I also spend time sleeping, despite veering away from sleeping too much, but still having that balance. So actually now when I'm working 1 year in, the context is also a bit different. So not just having that routine, but also fitting your context. So now when I'm working, it's a bit more hectic. Monday to Friday, I already have a routine. So Saturday, Sunday, now fitting my social life, fitting my own resting. I think one thing that I will make sure that I practice to maintain my wellness is that I will make sure I sleep. So I will block out at least either afternoon or evening that I have no plans, and then I'll just take it to nap or to sleep. Yeah. So
Right.
this-
So you need a routine, but you also need sleep. So you plan your sleep into your routine. That's really cool. What about you, Daniel?
Yeah, actually for me, it's, I would say for me, it's quite simple. Actually, I just have a lot of me time. Yeah, so I connect with people quite a lot actually. So either through work or through school, I do meet a lot of people, and a lot of people talk to me. They ask me for advice or just wondering, want to connect and want to talk about things. So actually, every night and every morning, I actually have some time set aside for myself to just be with myself and to think like, hey, am I okay? What's happening today? Am I ready for it? And I think these little check-ins with yourself are also quite important, because that's when you know whether you're ready to go through the day or not. And if you're not, actually, no one's gonna like berate you and say that, hey, you cannot, you already set this day. So I have some days that I even cancel some plans and just let my friends know that I'm not feeling it. Can we reschedule or can we go out another time? Yeah.
Right, so what's an example of your mini check-ins?
Mini check-ins. I think I ask myself whether I am energized for the day. I think that's important for me because I think the nature of my talks with people is always about checking in with them, or whether checking in about life in general, so like how school, or like asking them how are you doing emotionally. So I think that takes a lot. So with myself, I'll ask, am I ready to hold this conversation, or do I have space for these people to ask me, like for me to ask them how are they doing and things like that. Yeah.
Right. So routine, discipline, sleep, and me time. Thank you guys. So thinking back to a particularly challenging time, what was the most impactful form of support you received?
Yeah, I can go first on this. I think for me, I just had a friend. So I think just to share, I grew up with not very much parental figures in my life. Yeah, so I grew up learning how to navigate things on my own. I always felt kind of alone, but I had, lack of a better word, I have no choice. I had to go through it. But I found a friend when I was in NS. So I think like we connected over just a simple comment, like he was playing a game, and I was like, hey, you play this game, and then I think we naturally got closer and closer. So I think it became a relationship where like I don't really depend on him, but I think having him around makes me feel like I'm ready to go forward. I'm ready to do this on my own, or I just have someone to say that, hey, I did this today, just want to let you know. And whether he's proud or not, because you don't usually say it. So like with your bros, you don't usually say that I'm proud of you, but I think it felt good knowing that I can tell this good friend of mine that, hey, I have a new job, I'm going through school's okay, I get my GPA. And I think from there, it made me learn that to not only have that one friend, but also to just let people know that, hey, I'm doing good in life, just want to share with you some happy news that I'm going through. If not, I think if I didn't have this friend, I would have been self-isolating a lot. So I would be like someone that just like, yeah, doesn't matter lah. Oh, I got through school, whatever lah. So I think it shifted my perspective from not being proud of myself to like, hey, you know, it's good news, I should share. People don't need to be proud of me, I just need to be proud of myself.
Right. What about you?
Okay, I recall a time when I was having quite a hard time. I reached out to one of my friends and he said to me, do you want to reach out for professional support? And I think I told him I wasn't ready yet. So I followed up with, do I need to go? So that's when what he replied struck me quite a bit. So he said, I do not have control over you. You have the control to decide what you want to do. So whether you are ready to reach out for formal support or not, that's up to your call. So there are two things that I appreciate from that. One thing I appreciated, that pacing with me, not someone there asking me to do something and not listening to what I'm feeling, my state of being, but really pacing with how I'm feeling. And that leads me to my second point also, reminding me that I still have a choice, I still have control of what I can and cannot do. Yeah, I think these two struck me quite a bit, and that helped me to, I think maybe he's not aware of the impact of the words, but that really struck me like the whole night and got me really thinking about these 2 points. And then subsequently I made my own action plan of what I think I need to do. Yeah.
I think that both of your answers revolve around like friends, right? So like, I think for me it's a little bit different because everyone processes stress and pressure differently. So in the past, I would tell myself to suck it up, which worked, by the way, because you're technically just conditioning yourself that like, you know what, this will pass and it's okay. And not all the time you need to reach out to someone. Sometimes you just need to have a bigger brain, right? You just need to be able to process the feelings on your own, sit down with it, write it down on a paper, burn it, throw it, whatever. Sometimes you even need to lash out once to like let the emotions out, and that's perfectly fine. So what happened recently that I thought that was quite funny, not funny, but like a good addition to my life, is that I actually found friends that are on similar wavelength as me, which is back to friends again. So, and I also have a great relationship with my mom, not in the past, but now. So it is possible to also reconcile different sort of relationships that you used to have and then bring it back now, because everybody, you know, sometimes you get upset with someone because they're in a different phase of life, or they just think of you as someone that they should protect over, for example, like my mom, right? So as I grew older, she became more chill. So I had a lot more time to actually speak to her and to understand her struggles, and it seems like she understands me now. Because I feel like when I was younger, I really just feel like whatever she say, I don't want to listen. I really just don't want to listen to her. So as the maturity kind of like kicks in, the frontal lobe development, whatever it is, I start to realize that like having people around you is actually pretty nice. It's actually pretty nice. I think like a lot of the time, sometimes you have to ask yourself, are you isolating yourself because you want to be cool, or like are you isolating yourself because you need some me time, right? These are two non-negotiables, which I think is fine to have. But it is not okay when you start to, I guess, belittle yourself in the moment and stuff like that. So being able to have friends or being able to process it yourself, both are fine to me. I think I use the first one more often than the other, actually. I would just suck it up and be like, this is fine, I'm gonna get through it, it's gonna be okay tomorrow, I'm just gonna sleep. And the next day when I wake up, it's probably fine. Yeah, sometimes we are quite dramatic like that. That's how I feel. I am dramatic.
I think that's how resilience is built, though, ironically. So how can we actually create safer spaces to talk openly about mental health, especially in Singapore, right, when it is not really something that we can talk about?
I think I'll start first. So I'm very passionate about women's empowerment, and I always speak about it on social media, and I'll never shut up about it. But the thing is that with people staring at you all the time, I feel the need to scream even louder, right? You can say that, you can say that like being a public figure, you don't have to scream, oh, I did charity, guys, you know, that kind of thing. People will find it off-putting. They almost find it off-putting. But I feel like if I don't say it, who's gonna say it? So for me, I'm gonna scream it louder, right? I'm gonna say it louder. I'm gonna answer people's questions if they come to me. If you need help, I will try my best to be there. But simply put, everybody has their own pain points. Yeah, I think that you can slowly figure it out.
So to create safe space is to scream louder.
To create safe space is to scream louder for people who need to hear it. I
Okay,
feel.
I'm definitely joining you on that. We can
Thank
scream
you.
together.
Can, no problem.
What about Francis?
This is quite a tough question because I think so I work at Grove upstairs on 4th floor, so it's a youth mental wellness space. So we're always constantly thinking about how to maintain stigma free, make sure that we create a safe space for youth to come in to talk about their mental health at whichever state they are, be it whether they don't feel the distress or they feel the distress. Especially when they feel the distress, then how do we attend to them? And even modeling when we are attending to maybe youth in distress, they are also observing, they are also seeing how we attend. So these are questions that we look at it. Okay, I can share maybe one perspective. Might be a bit boring and dry, but I think it's important. I think research. So one thing that we are very guided by would be research. That's actually how our center comes about. The space growth on 4th floor is where the research shows the stigma. So actually when we created the space, right, we get a group of youths from an open call to join us in designing the space. So they share things like how there's corridor of shame in school, and that's how we also learn and empower their voice also. And so if you go to Grove, if you have the chance to go later, please go. We close at 8 p.m. today. Just go and take a look. It's a space for you to just visit. You won't see any corridors, you won't see any straight paths. It's all curved. There's also no dead end. So I think it's really empowering the voices of the youth in creating a safe space, in really taking into account their voice.
I definitely agree. I run a youth social enterprise, so I work with a lot of youths, and we also have a lot of open spaces. So ironically, I also think research is very important.
You guys are the protectors. I'm the fighter. Right?
Also
You
fight.
need the fighter
We
to
will
protect the
listen.
protectors.
We'll do a bit of both. We'll fight. Okay. And what about you?
I think for me, if I come from my own perspective, I also work at Grove, but if I come from my own perspective, I feel that youths, much like what Ruru is trying to do, I think youths want to be heard. So I think a lot of these, pain points come from the moments that they are not heard. So possibly from things that are really important to them. Maybe they say that, example, I don't know, at the top of my head, like, I like McDonald's, and then people are just like, no, McDonald's suck, then they're just like, but I'm just telling you what I like. So oftentimes they do feel that they are not heard. So probably as a community, we can practice better listening skills, or we can grow our knowledge in learning how to respond better, because I think most of the responses are very shut off, like, oh, okay, oh, then, yeah. So I think this is quite common as we grow up also, but probably what we need is probably more sensitive language and more, what's that word? More recovery languages lah. So instead of just like but some people maybe they are a bit more sensitive. They may feel like, wow, you never listen to me. I told you something that I'm really proud of, but you just shrug it off. But it could also be from a space of maybe misunderstanding. It's like, I didn't brush it off. I thought it was quite nice, but it could be the way that it was said.
But do you think that one of the reasons why they don't really speak up as well is because there aren't any or too many avenues for them?
Actually, yes, possibly. It could be that they feel the burnout of having too many avenues, like, there's this. So do I have to go to X number of places for me to say my story X number of times? Yeah, so some of the youths that come to me, they do say that, like, I tell people this story 100 times, but nobody really listens to me. Yeah, so it just takes probably that one step to ask them, actually, what do you want me to understand from your story, or what is it you want to share that's deeper than what you are saying? So I think it's quite rare that we hear that from that perspective.
Right.
I think it's very cool what you're saying, because I just realized that, okay, in my friend group, all of us have the same love language, right? All of us have gifting love languages. And it is very apparent that we know how to love each other because we know what is the other person's love language. So if the person wants to be reaffirmed by words, then you should be reaffirming by words. There's no point of me giving him like a new mug or a new sweater because that's not how he feels loved. And you put it very well. I really like that.
Right. So, what are some of the misconceptions of mental health that you wish people would understand better? Yeah, I think this is a tough question, right? So maybe I can start from my personal experience. I think one of the misconceptions about mental health, especially if you look at me, is they think, oh, but it cannot happen to you. But I actually believe that mental health can and will happen to anybody and everybody. And how we journey is very differently, right? So personally, I feel it's when they look at you and they say that, in some ways I feel that's really quite judgy lah. I don't know about
That's
you.
very rude.
Quite judgy, especially when you share your stories, then they're like, no, it cannot be. Yeah. Oh, so what about you guys?
Okay, I think one very common thing that I hear is that mental health is not real. Like when you're sick, you just need to snap out of it. I think summing it up, it seems like people just think it's like on the individual's willpower. You just need to like just beat it through. I think that's a misconception. I think a lot of times our mental well-being there are many more layers to it, and it's often affected by the environment because we don't just live in silos. So a lot of times, even that response back is a reaction that possibly worsens someone's mental health. So I think with that misconception, I also hope to just share that I think youth nowadays are more open, and when we talk more about it, like just now how we say to create a safe space, I think that greater understanding helps us to then understand what are the layers to our own mental health. That helps to break a bit of the misconception.
Right. How about you, Daniel?
I think one that maybe a lot of people might relate to is mental health has an end. Yeah, so the intention of going through things like counseling or doing things for the betterment of your mental wellness is that there's an end. But I think to also add on to what Francis has said, it's always a journey and it's always ups and downs. So there's never an end to it. There's never a like, today I achieve 100% of mental wellness. It's always, I feel that it may not always be 100% thing. So some days it's 80, some days it's 70, and I guess the world needs to know that lah. Like it's always an up and down thing, and you do what you have to for the betterment of your mental health.
I totally agree. I don't think there's an end to it. But anyway, I think we're running out of time, and I would like to give the participants a chance to ask questions. So thank you so much for answering all our questions. We will now open the floor for questions from the youths. If you guys have any questions, our team is available to assist you directly. If not, you can scan the QR code behind us and type your question.
Purpose is so it's a bit like mental health. It's like a journey for me also. Even till now, when I'm on something like I'm working as a social worker, I'm constantly finding new purposes or even questioning my current purpose. Yeah.
I feel like you're thinking too deep. It's like the purpose can be as simple as I need to get home by 6 p.m. And like you just need to live by the small purposes in your life, and you don't need a big goal. Because to me, I'm someone that has no purpose, in my opinion. Like my purpose is to do what I want to do in this moment right now. And it could change in the future because 2 years ago, I wanted to be famous, right? So, okay, kind of. Then after that, a year ago, I was like, I really want to be a good dancer. And then this year, I was like, you know what, I want to take a chill, I want to travel. So the purpose changes constantly, and it doesn't have to be big, it can be small, and it can be trivial matters. And I think that by placing such a big importance in what you think a purpose is probably making you unmotivated.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Right? Your purpose can change. Yeah.
I think for me, I think purpose doesn't have to be a set thing. So maybe what you're asking is probably what's my purpose in life, but it's a very vague question. It's very big because in life, like Francis and Ruru has mentioned, things change every day, every second things change. Like today I may be like, wow, very purposeful, I want to talk to you. Tomorrow I'll be like, I don't want to talk to people anymore. I think that's okay. So I think we, to whoever asked this question, also to the rest, possibly, I think you yourself going through life is already as purposeful as it can get. Yeah, you just need to find more things or probably explore things. Yeah, because I don't think we grow up knowing that we want to do this. Yeah.
Okay, I think I'm from a very different generation. My generation is suck it up. But the next question is, what would you say to those who have undiagnosed mental illness, and how would you advise them?
I'm not a medical professional.
Neither are we actually.
Yeah, I think it depends on you. I think reaching out, even thinking about this question is taking the first step. So being able to, eventually come to terms and looking for help, it's like me visiting my therapist for the first time. Honestly, I thought that I'm someone that is painfully self-aware, so when I went into my therapist, I was like, I have this problem and that problem and that problem, and turns out it was none of that. So if you have the spare cash to find someone who is like professional and like on a good level, then maybe you could. But if not, I would say that you can always just, touch your heart and ask yourself, maybe you can visit Groove or something. Yeah, it really does help just by hanging out with people a lot. You might meet people who are going through the same thing as you.
Yeah, actually, thank you, riding on that. I think 2 points. I think firstly, getting a diagnosis or like just reaching out for mental health support doesn't have to be costly. So actually over at Growth, we run a few services and we will right-side you accordingly, and all these services are free. So feel free to not just reach out to Growth, but I think also searching online, seeing what are the resources out there, knowing that there are a lot actually also, because just now I said research, right? Also a lot of the youth feedback that they face decision paralysis when they're actually looking for support. So it's a very real thing. If Growth could be a possible avenue for whoever posed the question or just whoever is here, you can feel free to reach out to Growth and then we'll ask you accordingly and then maybe right-side you. I think the second point that I wanted to bring out is also maybe refrain from searching online or getting too absorbed, in the
Every time I search it, I'm having cancer. So I think maybe I will have died at this point.
I think it's not just the number of services online, but it's also what are some of the like AI generated diagnoses or understanding of whatever you type there that might not be too accurate and sometimes might not be too helpful also, depending on really the mental perspective, how you look at it. Maybe it motivates you more to look for someone professionally, and then maybe from my point that it's not costly, it actually could be free. Do reach out to maybe someone maybe more certified, so maybe be a bit more cautious when you search online.
Right. So how do you guys stop being overwhelmed? This particular question is interesting. It follows, a sentence follows. It says, I feel so overwhelmed all the time.
My honest answer is you feel it, you go to sleep, and then the next day you recalibrate. Yeah, so what is recalibrating? I think you gotta ask yourself, what are you being overwhelmed by? I think it's okay if you are overwhelmed by a lot of things. I think nobody is. You are yourself and nobody is judging you on that. So you can recalibrate the things that you are doing in your life, or maybe the places that you are going, the people you're talking to, the activities that you thought maybe will get rid of this feeling. Yeah.
Maybe I can give a real life example of this. It's like I have crowd anxiety, unfortunately, for someone who is doing my job. So you might be asking the next question is like, oh, then you do events, you have like hundreds of people lining up for you and all the time. Like, what do you do with that? I would like to know also. But so what I do is when I do the renovations, so because, okay, first there's pinpointing what makes you anxious, right? So I know that talking to a lot of people every day makes me very overwhelmed. So step one already done, right? So number two is that when I am designing the booth of what I'm doing, okay, so for context for those who don't know what I do, is that I sometimes have events at anime festivals and stuff like that, and you know, like those like giant booths and stuff like that, so I do that. And what I do when I design the booth is to have a storage space that with a door closed. So if I'm feeling very overwhelmed, I need to cry. So I know that I need to cry for at least like 5 minutes. So usually what will happen is I will tell the queue, hey, I'm taking 5, be right back, get into the storeroom, listening to some like metal music because that distracts me from the noise outside. Basically, I'm isolated in an area and I just cry. And maybe to people, they might feel like, oh, that is like, you're crippling mentally ill or something like that. But it's not. I am coping. That is my coping mechanism. That is how I compartmentalize, and that is how I find out that it works. And it doesn't mean that if you don't cry, it means that you don't have a mental illness. I think more than that, maybe you should get checked out if you don't cry or something like that. Because I feel like because of this real life example of me being able to pinpoint exactly what is wrong is also largely due to the fact that I speak to my therapist. So I realized that, okay, I have a problem with this, but I don't know exactly what it is. So I found out that it was because of crowds. It could be because of a lot of things like social anxiety or like speaking to 100 people, like a lot of interactions a day. It just puts the introvert in me like in peace, like rest in peace type of peace. So I think that you need to be able to understand what's your problem and figure out what exactly overwhelms you. If you feel like everything overwhelms you, please go to group. Like he will find you a good person to talk to.
Right. So I think that's all the time that we have. Thank you so much, guys, for joining me in this panel. I hope everyone was able to take away something valuable from this session. I will be handing the microphone and the time back to Yun Ting for the next segment.
Alright, thank you so much. Thanks. Let's give a round of applause to everyone again. Okay, thank you so much for sharing. They were all so candid in their experiences, and I hope everyone here found it touching and inspiring as I have. So we're actually going to be drawing towards the close of Recreate 2025. In the meantime, we still have one last lucky draw happening soon, but we would like to improve for future events as well. So to help us improve, we'd be really grateful if you could take a few minutes to complete our feedback form. So as always, please take your phone out and scan the QR code behind me, okay, to complete our feedback form. Your insights are really valuable to us. This will also help us, directly make future editions of Recreate even better. So thanks for helping us shape this event for everyone. I'll give you a few minutes for this.
Where are they? Or you want to cross the traffic and go and see? No need, because we are going for Jurong. It seems like they are from the Z axis, right? Scanning. Alamak, the bus cover.
Stand by, got another bus. Stand by, you just zoom in here.
I can zoom in very far one.